Hi everyone, I'm Simbi.
I'm Olamide.
And welcome back to our YouTube channel.
Perfect.
So in case you missed it, you missed it.
Oh.
But it's okay.
It's okay.
Because the video is up. As you may know,
we're having a baby.
Someone said he enjoyed me.
Yeah, I enjoyed you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we're with child.
Yeah.
And we are super pumped, super excited that God has given us this opportunity to be part of his story. Wow, his story, history, a
history.
Yeah. Part of history. Nah. I always think about like how we read Abraham was the father of Isaac, like all those parts that you see the ancestors and who was the father of this person and and just the fact that we are literally now part of that. Like we can say that we are the parents or he's the father of our child, and it like I love genealogy. So those parts of the word tend to excite me. So that's what I think about when I think about like this. Well, one thing I think about. So
yeah, absolutely. We wanted to take you guys through the journey.
Yeah.
Take you guys through the process. Because oftentimes we see the end results and we don't know that God has taken people through a journey. So that's the purpose of, I guess, what we could call like a series, if you want. But we want to share the process of, how we got to this point where I enjoyed Simbi.
Oh God.
So with that, what are we talking about today?
I feel like that's your thing now.
Yeah, it's my thing.
That's what we're talking about today. Why it took us so long. So if you've been following us, we've been married for like 2.5 plus, almost 3 years. For some people, typically what happens is you get married and then 9 months later, they're looking at you like, where is the belly? Where's the baby? Like, what's going on? And then, but for us, that clearly isn't our story. So in case you were wondering, I'm sure someone is curious, like, did you guys choose to wait? How did you decide? Like, how did you know you were ready for this? Are you ready for this? All of those questions. So and especially today, in today's society, I believe that there are people that are delaying childbirth for various reasons, right? You think of career, you think of finances, like people are delaying both childbirth and marriage as well, for various reasons. So we just wanted to share like where we fit in.
So after we got married,
October 2020.
We got married October 2020. We were chilling, we were doing our thing. To be fair, I don't even think we truly like had like a serious, which I'm kind of surprised, but we didn't have like a serious conversation of like, we always talked about, how many kids and things like that. But we never really talked about, when. Yeah. And that's a conversation that we definitely should have had beforehand. It would have been helpful.
Yeah.
I think part of the reason why maybe that didn't really come up was because we were so young.
No, I actually think it's because I wasn't thinking about it. Because I feel like I would have been the one to bring up when.
Fair enough.
Because I was more of the like, what's this? When is this? When it like,
Fair enough.
So if I wasn't thinking about it, you weren't really thinking about it. You were just chilling.
I was chilling. So I wasn't really like, because it wasn't like, as soon as we get married, I want to have a child immediately. So that's probably why.
I also think you had a number in your head though, like a timeline in your head as well. Did. And we weren't at that point. So it was just like.
So in my head, we're like, we're still young. We're still, we're living our lives.
So
we're just chilling. So we didn't really talk about when we wanted to have kids. We just mainly talked about how many kids we wanted to have.
Yeah, and for context, if you're new here, I think I was 23 when we got married.
Yeah, you were 23.
I think you were 24.
I just turned 24.
You had just turned 24. I had
Yeah.
just turned 23 as well.
Yeah, as well, yeah.
And at that time, I was actually on birth control. So, like, we were chilling.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until about March of 2021 that I discovered that, okay, yes, I'm on birth control for these, like, health reasons, but maybe I'm using this as a crutch.
Yeah.
And maybe there's some things that are deeper. So I think when we first discussed it, it made me very, very afraid. And I realized,
discussed what?
like, having kids,
Right.
it made me afraid. And I found out that there were a lot of things in my heart that I had to deal with, that God had to, like, work on with me. So when you found out, I was scared
Yeah.
of having children, and that's literally what it was. Like,
Yeah.
I was very scared.
Yeah.
How did that go?
Man, it was tough. It was very tough because I mean, for me, in my head, it was just kind of like, I never really expected,
a woman to be afraid to carry children?
I never really thought about that. I
Yeah.
think there's just some things, if you're not exposed to, you just don't know, right? It never really occurred to me. So when we were having conversations about having kids, and Simbi is like, oh, like, uptight.
I still feel the butterflies in my belly as you're saying it.
What is going on? I was shocked.
Yeah.
So it was a very intense conversation.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it had to do with me not being understanding, because I just didn't understand. I couldn't wrap my head around why this conversation is so tough.
Right, or like why I was afraid.
Yeah.
Or like what was really, really going on.
Yeah.
Or just like...
And I think at the time as well, you didn't even
fully know
that you were afraid.
I didn't fully know.
So it was
depth.
like you were meeting it with a lot of deflection.
Yes.
So you weren't like saying like, oh, I'm nervous about having kids, or like talking to me about like the truth.
Because I didn't know.
And that's what I'm saying.
On.
So
Yeah.
for me, it was just always like a wall. And I'm like, what's going on? So it was a very intense conversation. But well, I think I remember what I did. There was one particular conversation when Texas, and it was so intense. And I was just like, bruv. All right, after that, I just went to God. I just started praying about it. I said, God,
as you should.
soften this woman's heart about having kids, because I didn't like. I mean, both you and I didn't know what the core problem was at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was how it was for me.
Yeah.
For you, what was your process like? Because I'd imagine that there are probably lots of women out there experiencing something similar.
Yeah.
And maybe they don't, like you, don't understand or know the roots of that feeling, of those feelings, of the emotions. So what was your process like, right, to get to that point of understanding this is the core problem?
The process.
Yeah.
It was prayer, honestly, like spending time in quiet. We just discussed retreats and personal retreats and all of that stuff. So like in that time of being quiet and asking the Lord, what is it? Help me see. He helped me see that the first thing was that I was afraid of my ability to have a child. Once we start trying to have kids, like, what if I can't have it? I can't have them. Like, what happens then? So I was just, that made me very afraid. And then also the fear of not having control, right? Because when you get pregnant, I feel like it's one of those things that you truly know that you are not in control. And as someone that likes to control things, likes to plan things, I like to have my life under control. I mean, as a Christian, God has been working with me on that a lot, because like you literally have to release control. And just thinking of, wow, once I'm carrying this child, like it's all in his hands from here. Like it's all God from here. God has to take care of this child. Like, and also the fear of pain as well, right? After hearing things about people that have had terrible experiences, like it sounded reasonable in my head that, oh, if you just don't get pregnant, you can avoid all the pain. No, like for real. Like if you and I even had that thought with us as well. If you don't get married, you
Right.
can avoid the pain that might come with,
Yeah.
So like these are ways that I thought
And that's what the enemy uses,
Yeah.
right? The fear of the unknown, right? It's like, oh, if I don't get married at all, then I can avoid someone breaking my heart.
Yeah.
But the reality is,
You're
even if you
missing out
don't,
on a big blessing as well.
yeah, that could prevent you from missing out
Wow.
on God's calling over your life. And that's where the kicker is.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be married for someone to break your heart.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
your friend can break your heart.
That's good.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, obviously, on that
It
you
feels more painful, you
Yeah,
think, yeah.
yeah, but it's like the enemy truly would put everything in front of you to prevent you from stepping into what God has called you to.
Yeah, and wanting you to focus on the fears and
Yeah.
the things you're afraid of. The next thing I found out that I was afraid of was my purpose / career / future being up for grabs. At
Up
that
for
point.
grabs.
Like, because I've seen and I know that once you have kids, having children requires time, effort, and the thought of once I start having children, does that mean that my life ends?
Yeah.
Like, do I not like have a career anymore, or
Travel.
will I still be able to make YouTube videos? Will I be able to travel
Yeah.
with the child? What happens to me?
Yeah.
How about me in this
Yeah.
picture? So the reality of like I have to sacrifice,
Yeah.
I guess it revealed how much I was thinking about myself and just me, and not really trusting at that point that God is truly in control,
Yeah.
and that God truly says that children are a gift,
Yeah.
and a good thing. So yeah, those were the things that I found were fueling my fear a lot. The idea of waiting 5 years to have children sounded so sweet to me.
Yeah.
Not because of the timeline or like, oh, let's have time together before we have children. It was just because I didn't want to have to deal with unpacking and
Yeah.
dealing with those things that were like subconsciously holding me back. So,
Yeah. And so for me, I just kept praying and trusting God that He would change and twist and unfold and unravel.
We thank God for God.
And
Thank God for God, honestly.
and I think as she was unpacking as well, I started to understand, okay, how can I help? How can I start to demystify some of these ideas?
And be patient.
Yeah, be patient.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, looking at real life examples of boss moms, like moms out here doing
That
their
are killing
thing.
it,
It's
yeah.
like they're all over YouTube doing their thing, or having a 9-to-5 career, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think God helped a lot to unravel, and I think that's always like the first step. Is like opening your eyes to see what the problem is.
Yeah.
Right. And so for us, that was the first step.
Yeah.
Now in the next video, we're going to talk about how God helped and how we walked through healing, right,
Yes.
from all of these fears, these ideas, and how that brought us to this place that we are right now. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. I just want to say thank God for God.
Yeah.
And I thank God for being patient and working. So like regardless of what you're feeling right now, how you're feeling, the things that you're subconsciously afraid of, I would encourage you to lean into those things, take them to the Lord and let Him do the work. It might be a little rough. There might be a little tussle.
Yeah.
But it's so worth it, because when I tell you, I'm thankful that I did not allow myself to sit in that place, that God didn't allow me to sit in that place, because now the thought of having children,
Yeah.
I'm just so thankful that God is allowing us to experience this now.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
yeah. On to the next one. Catch you guys in the next video. You
Yeah.
don't want to miss it. We're going to talk more about how God transformed our minds.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. And make sure you share. You know, there's so
yeah.
many women, so many people, even men that deal with, you know, a lot of things like this on a daily basis. Ones that realize it, ones that don't even realize it. And we truly just hope that this encourages somebody just to spend more time with God.
Yeah.
God will unpack, God will heal, and lay his hands upon you. So stay blessed, and we'll see you in the next video.